Hi, I'm Sarah, and we're here at Women's Event 11. Is this your guys' first time here?
No.
This is my second.
Your second?
Yeah,
How about
my
you?
first.
I think I've been at the women's event for probably all 11 years.
This is energy for the future.
Who took longer to get ready?
I just have to think that the L word is going to live on in many ways.
It's a pleasure to be here, and it's a pleasure to be able to be with our community.
I have lots of dance partners. My dance card is full.
That was Sarah Rice on the red carpet of Women's Event 11. Stay tuned for more of Women's Event with cast members from the L Word. I'm Darlinda, just Darlinda, and you're watching Out of the Center.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Take your time. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Do it right. Come on, baby. Let's do it. Let's do it.
The election season is officially over, and it went out with a bang at the center. Hundreds of people in the community and visitors from Europe and South America converged on West 13th Street as the place to watch the election results. Out of the Center spoke with members of the community about their election's issues, hopes, and dreams. The biggest cheer of the night came as a new administration promised to stand for all Americans, gay and straight.
I am the Director of Government Relations and Planning and Research here at the Center, and I'm so thrilled to be able to be hosting this event tonight.
Going out on the streets late at night, going into bars, going out into the community and registering people to vote, we wouldn't have had the impact we had. We registered over 1,000 voters in several months.
It's very, very important for LGBT people to show up and vote and get involved and help out because we always need hardworking, smart activists to add their voices to the mix.
This is the first time I get to vote because when I was 18, I wasn't able to vote. And I'm so happy that I'm able to vote. And she's able to vote too. We like, yes.
Well, the general election on November 4th brought about a milestone change in American society and politics on the question of race. For those of us in the sexual minority, our civil right to legally protected partnerships and families through marriage was overturned in California and denied in Arizona and Florida. In Arkansas, the right of any single or unwed person to adopt was banned to the dismay of state adoption agencies. New York City caught the protest fever that swept California with 2 demonstrations by our air date and possibly more action to come. Check out our website at gaycenter.org for ongoing meetings of Marriage Equality New York and other organizations working on this important issue.
That equal marriage should be the way to go, and I have friends here that's being prevented that right, and so I'm here fighting for them and for everyone else to have the same rights as me.
What do we want? Equal rights. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Equal rights. When do we want it? Now. We will. Yes, 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 we will.
And now we go back to Women's Event 11 for more action from the red carpet and the main stage, where cast members from the final season of the L Word mixed with honorees.
Hi, I'm Sarah here at Women's Event 11. We've got some fabulous ladies here tonight, the cast of the L Word. Glitz and glam, everyone's dressed to the nines, and we're going to interview a few and see how everything's going. Is this your first time at the Women's Event?
Yes, it is.
Well, first let me say that you two look absolutely beautiful this evening.
I'm actually supporting, I work for Showtime, so it's the last season of the L Word, so some of the cast members will be here, and it's a great event, so just coming out showing support.
So what brings you to Women's Event 11? Is this your first event?
Does.
Lori? No, we've been to a number of them before. It's one of the few events that you can go out, get dressed up, and have a good time.
Partners in business and partners in real life? Or?
Yeah, both.
Oh.
Yeah. So now
you really did mix business with pleasure, huh?
Yeah, we did. We did.
At least for 10 years.
And it seemed to work for 10 years. That's wonderful. Well, congratulations. What brings you out tonight? Oh, you have really nice skin.
Thank you.
I just want to comment
From
on
my
that.
mother.
Okay. From your mother. Oh, your mother, I bet, has beautiful.
She did.
Okay.
Because it's important to support women. You know, men get a lot of publicity and a lot of attention, and it's very important for women to come out and support women.
It's always a special occasion.
So how many times have you been to the women's event?
I've been maybe about 7 to 8 years. I think I've missed 1 year.
I've been here before. It's a great way to support the center, and it's a beautiful event. It's one of my favorite times every year to be here now, and I won't miss it, so it's great.
And I started coming to the women's event when it was a very small affair, maybe some finger food and, you know, maybe some little music here and there, but nothing like the celebrity star-studded gala event it's become.
Something to drink,
right? And do some dancing.
Oh yeah, well, I'm gonna get them doing the electric slide.
Okay, good. I want to see it. Are you excited about being here this evening and your award?
I'm thrilled about being here this evening.
So how about the conclusion of the L word?
You gotta tune in. It's definitely.
You always gotta leave them
I
wanting
feel
more.
like the ending is very controversial.
I just have to think that the L word is going to live on in many ways.
I know it got me through many horrific breakups. So.
Okay.
Thank you so very much for generously supporting the center and celebrating this, the 11th annual women's event and the center's 25th anniversary, and for saluting the history-making, groundbreaking Showtime series, The L Word.
Inspirational,
non-stop,
crazy,
intense,
strategic,
fun,
funny,
heart of gold.
Only a few of the adjectives that come to mind when you say the name Stephanie Gibbons.
Whether you're an L, a G, a B, a T, or even a big straight S. Really, our stories are the same as everyone else's stories because they're about human stories. I'm going to close right now by saying that I'm very happy to be in your esteemed company tonight. And even though I know you're not really here to honor the center, you're actually here to meet hot women, I also think that's an important cause. So here's to you. Thank you.
Lisa Sherman is a girl you really want to know. The girl you really want to be your friend. Everybody likes her. How many of us can say that we succeeded in our careers, in our corporate careers, by following our heart? Usually those two things don't mix, but with Lisa, they do. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming and honoring Lisa Sherman.
You know, I've always believed that the most powerful agent of change is actually storytelling. Because when people hear our stories, a funny thing happens. Stereotypes begin to shatter, barriers dissolve, and our humanity shines through. So imagine how lucky I feel to have the privilege to tell our stories every day at Logo. So to the center, thank you for all that you do. And thank you again for this award.
I just feel a little bummed that when the L Word goes off the air in March of 2009, LGB folks stand to be cast back into the desert in terms of primary representation of our lives and stories in mainstream popular television. We're hardly better represented now than we were 10, even 20 years ago, and bizarrely and inexplicably less well represented than we were just a few years back when at least we had Will and Grace and Queer Eye and Queer as Folk. Even now, as we stand on the brink of gaining hard-fought civil rights in the culture at large, in the entertainment culture, we're relegated still to minor roles as recurring secondary characters or cute but oddly asexual best friends, and sometimes on procedurals we get to be murder victims. I mean, really, thank God for Showtime. And I'm so grateful to have come to know and love this incredible group of women with whom I've worked these past 6 years. I'm equally grateful to the center for doing the real work that keeps us moving forward as a community.
I envision a time in the not too distant future when my daughter will say to me, "You mean there used to be a time when gay people couldn't get married? God, that's so crazy, Mama."
You know, the center is one of our most critical institutions. And your generosity in all times, but right now in these tough economic times, is so extraordinary. And tonight's event made its goal. That is very hard to do nowadays. So give yourselves a big round of applause.
On November 1st, 2008, two fans of the L Word crashed a promo taping in order to discover the heavily guarded secrets of the final season.
But don't be late or you'll miss everything.
And cut.
Oh no, you gotta tell us.
Oh, what's the secret?
You gotta tell us now.
We can't tell you.
You gotta.
Please.
Can somebody get security, please?
Busted. And no questions answered. Yes, fans, they like you will just have to wait until the premiere of the final season of The L Word. Premiere Sunday, January 18th at 9, only on Showtime.
Marcy Con is a New York State Supreme Court judge. In 1983, she was a partner in a law firm and active with the Metropolitan Community Church when a call from Reverend Karen Ziegler informed her of a crisis affecting the building at 208 West 13th Street. She sat down with Youth Enrichment Services Director Jenny DeBauer to talk about the series of events that led to the founding of the Lesbian and Gay Community Services Center.
Marcy Con, thanks for sitting down with me today to talk about gay and civic history in New York City.
Good to be here, Jenny.
So tell me about the life of Marcy Con in 1983. What were you doing?
In 1983, I was a partner at a mid-sized law firm in New York City, living here with my partner, Diane Churchill, who at the time I think was working as an engineer.
Today we call that a lesbian power couple. What, were you out at the time? Were you able to be out in the workplace? Were you considered a lesbian power couple?
Well, I don't know about lesbian power couple, but we, you know, my partners mostly knew that I was a lesbian and had met Diane at law firm functions, yes. You know, very few professional people broadcast their sexual orientation in those days. We were both involved with the Metropolitan Community Church, which had rented office space in a city building on 13th Street. And one day I got a call from the pastor of that church, Reverend Karen Ziegler, saying, "Marcy, look out, we're about to be evicted and we don't know why." The building was destined for the auction block, and we were able to postpone the auction sale and get the building off the auction block while the mayor's office agreed to negotiate with us for purchase of the building over the summer. With the aid of Reverend Ziegler and Tom Burrows, Ken Dawson, who was the executive director of Senior Action in a Gay Environment, the precursor to SAGE at that time, we reached out to people in the various organizations in the community and brought them together for a meeting right here in this building, which of course was a building that was not in very good shape. We met a lot without heat. We didn't have regular electricity that worked everywhere. GMSMA that provided 40 folding chairs brought a group together and had a meeting. We decided to put together a proposal to put the brakes on the auction process, talked about the idea of a community center and how it could serve all of the community, and it could provide not only a meeting place for all of our various organizations, but a place for people to come and socialize outside of the bars, a place for cultural events. People saw an opportunity to put in space for a clinic for the community, to provide counseling services for people with AIDS. In the early 1980s, Jenny, it's hard to think of this now, but people with AIDS were not being served by some hospitals and some healthcare providers. We had some rather stormy discussions with the mayor's real estate commissioner over the course of the summer about this. Well, the deal was on again, off again, many times. And we'd go down, a number of us, to meet with the real estate commissioner, and we'd think we'd have a deal. And surprisingly, at the next meeting, it wasn't the same deal we thought we had. When I went down to the Board of Estimate meeting in December and stood up before them at the time to speak in support of the proposal to sell the building to us, this nascent 501c3 not-for-profit entity called the New York Lesbian and Gay Community Services Center, the proposal passed unanimously. And every borough president supported it, every citywide public official supported it. It was really very, very gratifying.
Nice. And so when you think back 25 years now, what do you think has been the biggest impact that the center has been able to have over those 25 years?
I think the center has had a huge impact on the LGBT community here in New York and in fact around the world. What the center did was give the LGBT community here an identity and a focus and a home. And it is an institution now in the community that has given birth to so many other institutions, I think. That's really changed culture for gay people in New York.
New York Times perfume critic Chandler Berg gave a unique presentation at the center about the art of fragrance. Unfortunately, we cannot broadcast this in smell-o-vision.
I am the New York Times scent critic, perfume critic. Weird job, somebody has to do it. Actually, nobody has to do it, but I'm doing it. I have, of course, a master's in international economics, Ricardian trade theory specifically, and Japanese political economy. I was standing in the Gare du Nord train station waiting for the Eurostar to London in 1998, and they announced a 20-minute delay, and this guy behind me was sort of smiling at me and, this sort of thing. And I thought, well, he's a little old for me, but, I'll talk to him. Turns out he was not gay, he was straight, and a really nice guy. Started talking, he says, what do you do? I said, I'm a journalist. He said, oh, really, what do you do? And I said, well, I do politics. I was actually on my way to London to do a piece on Tony Blair for US News and World Report, where I was a contributing editor. And I said, I do science. He says, oh, I'm a scientist. I said, really, what do you study? And he said, I do smell. I had no idea. We got on the train. We dropped our bags in our respective places and met in the cafe car, and we talked for 3 hours and 15 minutes. As we were pulling into Waterloo, I said, I want to write a book on you. And that book became The Emperor of Scent. Perfume is the art form that speaks to the sense of smell. Smell is the most primitive, visceral of all the senses. The more you smell something, a natural or synthetic, the more accurately and the more easily you smell it. There are perfumers who actually are anosmic to this molecule. See, I've lost it now. I could smell it for about 3 or 4 seconds, and now I can't smell it anymore. This is a synthetic called galaxolide. Galaxolide is a synthetic musk. What's interesting about modern perfumery is that the synthetics make it technically possible to create a perfume that does not strictly imitate nature. Synthetics are the key to modern perfumery. Not only is there nothing wrong with them, they are wonderful, noble, beautiful, astonishing materials, and they make perfume art. What does this smell of? I'm not even going to ask you what it is right now because you're never going to guess. What does it smell of? Liquor, green pepper, creosote, licorice. I could get the licorice angle. I always think honey. You get the honey angle?
No, work honey.
Molasses. What do you think this is? Just take some guesses for me. No. This is a flower. This is Immortelle. This is a perfume that changed the course of perfume history. I'll give you a hint. It contains in a very key role 2 raw materials. Number 1 is a rose de mai from Grasse, and number 2 is an aldehyde. Who knows what this is? Chanel number 5. Chanel number 5 was created by Ernest Beau for Coco Chanel in 1921. It launched and it changed perfume history. Why? It took perfume and it made it abstract art.
Queers for Economic Justice, the National Gay and Lesbian Task Force Policy Institute, and the Center presented a panel on the search for the queer gene and if biological studies have any impact on gay sexuality, identity, or legal rights.
I do not care what makes me or any of you or anybody else queer. I don't care if it is infectious or genetic or social or psychological or just dumb luck. I've come across some pretty incredible theories in the course of my research, like prenatal stress causes gay offspring, results in gay offspring. Fluoride in the drinking water causes homosexuality. So see, you get good teeth, but then, you know, there's a trade-off.
So I wonder when we look at these studies, the genes, the hippocampuses, there are some that measure the bones in your ears, pheromone responses, and yes, the distance between your index finger and your middle finger. Lesbians have shorter, more masculine distances between their index fingers and their middle fingers. Not mine, though. What is it that we're actually saying is determined by the gene or other biofactors? Are we saying it determines queer attraction? Are we saying it determines the courage to act on the attraction? Is it that we're saying it determines the likelihood to one day claim a gay identity? Since these researchers are so often conflating gender nonconformity and sexual orientation, I wonder if they even know what it is that they're finding.
The ear stuff or the finger stuff or prenatal stress or on and on and on and on. Interestingly, almost every single study right now actually relies on this same theory about prenatal hormone exposures. In the group that have had supposedly the biggest unusual exposure, you find no increased level of same-sex interest at all.
But even the identical twin studies show at most a 50% heritability. Some of the more recent longitudinal studies over the lifespan of identical twins show significantly less, more like 7 to 10%. All of these biofactor guys have always said that their findings point to the reality that gayness is about a mix of factors, with some indicators of heritability.
I think the relationship between the LGBT community and scientific claims are really especially disturbing, you know, and specifically, I really want to know why, out of all the groups targeted by eugenics, we seem to be the only ones who have looked to biological models to deliver us from demonization.
If any of you saw the California Supreme Court argument that Shannon Minter did, it was totally brilliant. You can access it online. He moved away from the biological argument in that setting, which is what I think of as one of the most high-stakes queer, equal rights settings of the last, 30, 40 years. The justices really wanted him to deliver the bio-argument. They hammered at him and said, isn't this like biology? Isn't this just like this groundbreaking race case that we had where we made the right decision around interracial marriage 50 years ago? Isn't this just like that? And Shannon said, something can be essential to you without being biologically determined. Wow, brilliant. New place in the road for queer activists, in an actual setting to be posing a new argument.
Predicating civil rights on anatomy is a very risky strategy. It's one that has historically been used against women, against immigrants, against people of color, against Jews, against people with disabilities who have been marked for eradication from the start by eugenicists. So let's just stop for a minute and think about what we're agreeing to when we embrace the idea that we are biologically different from the rest of humanity.
The center produced a series of videos for friends and partners of individuals who use crystal methamphetamine. In this next message, friends of users talk about how it feels when someone you love uses meth.
When somebody crashes on meth, it's not just them. They're affecting the people around them who care about them.
I'm a very close friend of a person who used crystal meth for a long period of time.
One of my best friends was suddenly partying a lot and not telling the truth all the time and kind of just getting very hostile.
I've been with my boyfriend for 6.5 years, almost close to 7 years we've been together. But the relationship is kind of falling apart.
He knew I knew he was using, but still would avoid me.
because he'd rather use.
Sometimes I didn't see him, so he was doing it behind my back, but I'm not stupid. I knew what was going on.
If he won't even tell me the truth about what's happening, I can't do anything.
Then he would say, oh, I don't have a problem, and then I let it go. I just let it go because I didn't want any confrontation because I was in love with him. So I just said, okay, well, maybe he'll stop, and, but of course that didn't happen.
And I was angry. Angry that he wasn't taking better care of himself, angry that he was lying to me, angry that he didn't want to take better care of himself and be the person that I was missing.
When we were living together, sometimes I was afraid to fall asleep. I was always on edge all the time, and I wasn't happy. I was, at work, I couldn't concentrate on my job because I was worried about him.
We, the friends and family of users, are often told to be non-judgmental. It's very hard to be non-judgmental when people are really falling apart. And that's one of the things that I think friends and family have to learn to cut themselves some slack on. We have feelings too. We have a stake in the outcome of this.
And that's all for this edition of Out of the Center. As the credits roll, we will see more highlights from Women's Event. The evening raised $350,000 benefiting women's services and programs at the center. I'm Darlinda, just Darlinda. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
We're here at Women's Event. We've got the cast of the L Word and some fabulous honorees. Everyone's dressed up and ready to dance. Let's go inside and see what's happening. And now to where all the mixing and mingling is happening. Rubbing elbows with some of the most powerful women in New York. We've got everything from cookbooks to messenger bags to nights out on the town up for auction, all going to a good cause.
I've placed a lot of bids. As a matter of fact,
What are we hoping to win?
See, that's my name. I got here early. I placed my, we want to raise a lot of money for the center.
About to go in. They're calling us in to take a seat at the table. We're going to hear our honorees, and it'll be a great night. There they are now. Okay, bye.
Marvelous party. Marvelous. Hi, how are you?